Agile strategist with over 25 years of Agile project delivery and training experience in information technology, spanning retail, management consulting, finance and telecommunication industries across EMEA. Cyril began his career as a systems analyst with the Department for Constitutional Affairs in London in 1989. In 1996, he embarked on a 14-year journey consulting in various projects and program delivery across the UK and Europe, working in various industry sectors, including the public government sector. In 2010, Cyril was posted from the UK to Ghana by Nokia, formerly Alcatel-Lucent, and appointed as the senior project manager. In 2015, Cyril returned to London and joined Costco Wholesale Corporation, providing program management, leadership on a number of key global strategic initiatives. Cyril currently works with Trusted Advisors Group as an executive director, EMEA, providing program and change management expertise in an advisory capacity, and is a consultant trainer, Agile coach at Lyric Consulting. Cyril holds a joint BSc Honours in Information Technology and Business Information Systems, along with professional accreditation as follows. Proskiac Certified Change Practitioner, if I didn't get it right, please pardon me.
That's good.
IC Agile Certified Professional, Agile Coaching Certified, SAFEA Certified Program Consultant, Project Management Professional, Professional Scrum Master, and Prince 2 Practitioner. Please let's welcome our speaker, Mr. Cyril Awere.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much. It's really awesome to be here. I've been looking forward to this day for quite some time since Jumokera announced to me that we were going to target to have this conference here in Ghana. So yes, thank you for the introduction. I think my background, in terms of my professional background, I have tried to focus on getting more professional accreditations, which has helped a lot in terms of my experience working in the different sectors across different parts of the world. I'm very fortunate to have a job which takes me to different parts of the world, Middle East, Africa, Europe, but most importantly, being really proud to be a Ghanaian, of course. And my passion really, which is really why I'm so excited to be with the PMI Ghana chapter, is to see how we can come together and change our country, right, in a positive way. And I'm very positive that we can do that. Okay, so for my presentation here, it's really a conversation. I would like to, for it to be an engaging session. So I'm hopefully you're going to be participating in this conversation through some questions that I have as part of the slides. I'm going to try and keep to the time. Do we have a clock somewhere that I can make sure that I'm on time? Or you can just alert me in case I'm running out of time. Yeah, thank you. So, what do you see here in this picture? By the way, I thought this young man. I could see something in this picture. What do you see in this young man? Can any of you come up with a word that describes the look of this young man? Ability, okay, that's good. Ability. Focus, yeah, he's got these strings, right? So that must take a good degree of skill to put these strings together. Is there anyone here that can do this, by the way?
Yeah. We used to.
Okay, excellent. Good. Sorry, you had another word to share?
Yeah, I said creativity.
Creativity, that's the better word. Yes?
Having fun.
Sorry?
He's having fun.
Yes, having fun. That's also very, very important. Yeah, but I actually quite like the creativity part. I think we in this new digital era, creativity is very, very important for all of us. Okay, so I always start my presentations by applauding our PMI volunteers. They really do an awesome job, and I think we should all give them a round of applause. Really impressive stuff. Because without these guys, we would not be here, right? And I also really like this picture. This is from Misa Hotel when we used to do our chapter meetings face to face, but now everything has changed thanks to COVID-19. Okay, so the agenda is these key topics here. We're going to talk about our key business challenges, and hopefully you'll be able to resonate with them. I think it's a good thing to talk about our minds, and I like to say a few words about that because this is really, really important for all of us. And then we're going to touch on what does it mean to be an agile leader. So we're going to be using the PMI logos that we are all already familiar with to bring out what it means to be an agile leader. Let me go back. And then culture is very, very important for us. So I'll be talking through some typical steps that we can take to help to bring the right behaviors into our organization. And then we're going to be talking about what the next steps could look like for us, those of us that are gathered here today in order to make a change. So let's start to talk about key challenges. So I did some research, I think it was earlier this year. I consulted some of my friends and asked them, so guys, what do you think are the key challenges here in Ghana? What's blocking our businesses from moving forward or developing, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to eventually invite you guys to get your input on what you think the key challenges are from your own perspective, right? So the first one is lack of industry data. So data is the new currency, right? We rely so heavily on data to make decisions about what the future could look like for our organizations, and we use it also to decide on how we want to run our existing operations. How do we want to improve? Without data, we can't make these right decisions for our businesses. Companies like Apple, Amazon, they use data very heavily, and that's how come they are so successful. So I think we want to start to think in a kind of data-centric way. And then we have cash flow management. We don't seem to have the fiscal discipline to manage our financials in the best way, right? So this is also not helping us. And finding and retaining the best talent is a lot of organizations are struggling in this area. When we have the right talent, keeping them is difficult. And then of course it's challenging to actually get the right people into organizations. And whenever I come to Accra, I see so many opportunities, right? For me, there must be loads and loads of work to do. But then in the same breath, apparently there's no jobs. So for me, that's very confusing. And then we have this one here. Teams are afraid to make mistakes. This is a very important point. Perhaps something to do with our culture. We're not very risk averse. We don't like to make mistakes because others are going to tease us or make us feel bad. Okay, and this is a big issue for us. So we have to try and find ways of overcoming that. And then for me, this lack of trust and integrity is very scarce, right? Would you generally agree that trust is very scarce in this country?
Yes.
Right. Okay. It's a very scarce commodity, which means that if we can become trustworthy, we can actually become very valuable, right? Because it's scarce, right? So if we're able to demonstrate to our employer that we are trustworthy, we have integrity, then it should really make us in a, position us in a good place. So I think it's something for us to be mindful of. And then of course we have corruption, right? This is killing us big time. Corruption is like from the top all the way to the grassroots. So it's a kind of systemic in our society, and we want to try and find ways of addressing those. So I'm going to invite you, all of you have mobile phones, right? I'm going to invite you to go to this website, right? www.menti.com. If you can go there now for me. And you'll be prompted to type in a code. Okay? And just type this code in, 5251 6399. So we're going to be doing this through the workshop, right? We're going to be participating in some questions. Okay, any of you not see the web page? All of you can see the web page. Hopefully you should be able to see the web page with the question about key challenges. So I want you to select three challenges that you think for you is your top 3 out of the 6 for me, please. Yeah? So you can see, I think you just need to choose one at a time. Let me just do this actually. Yeah, that's better. Has anyone not voted yet?
Can we get a code again?
Oh, you want the code again? Okay, all right. Let me just go back. So it's 5251 6399. 5251 6399. And then it should take you to the page with the question. I know this is probably the first time you're using this tool. Okay, anyone not there yet? Okay, so we're all good. Yeah, so please select your top 3 challenges. So what this tool is doing is that it's recognizing your input, and then it's kind of prioritizing them. Interesting. I was always expecting corruption to be number 1. I knew I should have placed a bet on this with my son. This morning I was saying to my son that corruption is going to be number 1, but let's see. Good. So I think right. So everyone has voted. Anyone not voted yet? Okay, I can see some of you are still typing. So let me give you a minute. But yeah, corruption is definitely up there still.
The network is not good here.
The network.
The network is not great.
Yes.
Okay. Are we using the hotel Wi-Fi, or you're just using your data?
There's no Wi-Fi.
Okay, right.
There is. What is the fact?
Good. So I think most of you have voted by now. So we can see corruption is definitely number 1. Lack of trust and integrity is up there. And then finding and retaining the best talent. Okay, I think some of you are still waiting, so I'll just give you another minute. And then we're going to be talking about how we can fix this, right, as we come towards the end of the workshop. How can we as a collective help to fix these challenges in our organizations? So I believe it's going to remain the same. in the same format, so that's okay. Let's move back to the slide. Good. Okay. So now we're going to just spend some time talking about our mind. So what I wanted to bring up here is that our mind is our most important organ from the whole body, right? From our bodies, and even from a spiritual perspective, God created us as human beings slightly differently from animals, right? He gave us a brain, right, which makes us superior, to animals. So we were able to use this brain to really do extraordinary things. So, does any of you heard of this name, Marcus Aurelius? Ah, good. I'm impressed. Okay. And who is he? Anyone prepared to give an answer as to who he is? I'm happy to give you the mic so you can introduce us. Okay, all right.
I believe he was an emperor, a Greek emperor.
Exactly. Yes, thank you. Oh, yeah, awesome. Yeah, one of the very, very wise and successful emperor. This is kind of moving into the space of philosophy. By the way, do we have any psychologists here? Anyone who's done psychology? Human psychology? Aha, this is our challenge, right? Okay, we have one at the back. Okay, good. Do you mind giving me giving me a mic, please? And we can have a very quick conversation about the importance of psychology. So, this is my perspective, and it'll be very interesting to get yours, right? As a country, today, we need psychologists more than any profession, right? Because it's our psychologists that can help us to think in the right way. When we think in the right way, then we behave in the right way, right? And this is a big, big challenge for us today. Good. Could you please give us a quick introduction as to how you think psychology can help us?
When you say help us to know what...
As a country.
I think psychology is the understanding of how we think,
yes.
Why we think the way we think, and
yeah.
what informs our behavior. So, in terms of how psychology can help us,
yeah.
The mind is the genesis of almost everything, and
Correct.
So understanding why our behavior patterns are the way they are help us to know how to deal with issues, stress, and everything we have to do, like at the workplace.
Yeah.
What stresses us, how to manage those stresses, and all of that. So I think when we know how the mind affects us, it will help us in the way we react to things and the way we handle our stresses.
Yeah. Thank you very much. What's your name, by the way? Sorry.
Ebolua,
right. Thank you very much, Ebolua, for that explanation. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to invite you again to do another quick question, and I want you to. So it's still on the same link. Let me just go to it again. Right. I'm going to invite you to think about who you think you are. And you're going to use just one word to describe who you think you are. Yeah? So hopefully you should be seeing this on your phones. Yeah? Just using one word, who you think you are. And let's get your inputs on that. It would show up on here, and I'm going to try and see which one's the best one out of all of them. So who do you think you are as a person, right? What word do you think best describes who you are? So I'm not talking about your job, by the way, because I know a lot of you might be thinking along those lines, but from an individual perspective. Are you seeing this question, by the way, on your phones? Yeah? Okay, good.
The code again.
Okay, it's 5251 6399. It's right on the top as well there. Has any of you typed in the word?
Yeah.
You have? Okay, so maybe it's the network. It's not showing yet. Ah, here we are. Okay. Okay, so this is interesting, right? We can see. So basically, the ones that are bigger are the ones that most of you have selected, right? And the ones that are smaller are the ones that the least of you have selected. So I can see team player there, okay, which is good. Who's the one with awesome? Who's awesome? Sorry. Oh, come on! I'm sure you can be proud to say that. Yes, I'm feeling awesome. No, you're feeling shy. Because I was going to congratulate you and maybe give you something, right? Because that's a good one. And I also like, I'm an optimist. I think it helps to be an optimist. Was that you? Okay, good. Right.
You won't get that one.
Yes, I also like discipline. This is quite important, right, for us to be able to be disciplined. So the reason why I asked for us to do this exercise is very, very important that we are thinking in the right way about ourselves, right? We should never think that we're not good enough, okay? We should be very, very positive about... Sorry, yeah. Great. So just been reminded that we have an online audience as well, so they can participate in the same way using the code on the screen there and the website. Yeah, so you can participate in the same way. Okay, and I'm just going to touch on one of them. Silent. Who came up with silent? Ah, so it's another online one. Okay. Okay, that's fine then. Okay, right. So now we are clear about who we are now. The next question is, who do you think you're becoming? Okay, someone has already jumped the gun there. We have some comments on the next one. So who do you think you're becoming? Okay, so as a person, as an individual, who do you think you're becoming? Okay, so some of it is filtering through. So for those of you online, you can participate as well. Just type in the code there from the menti.com URL. Okay, so who do you think you're becoming? So we can only see 2 so far. Maybe some of you are busy. Okay. So now it's filtering through. Oh, we have some very interesting ones. Did anyone here choose a better version of me? Okay, so that's an online one. It's amazing. I'm selecting all the online guys. All the online guys are very active today. It's like, oops, let's go back. I see quite a few of you selected fearless, which is quite good. My mouse is... Let's go back to it again. Okay, so we actually have quite a few of us connected, which is good. There's 56 of us connected. Okay, good. So I want you to be thinking about what you think, who you think you are now, and obviously the transition into who you're becoming. So just be thinking about that, right? Okay. So let's move. So we're not doing that one yet, by the way. So if you can leave the question for now. Those were the two questions there. So now we're going to touch on Agile Leadership. So what I've done here is that I've taken the values from PMI, PMI Global, and we're using that to highlight the character traits that an agile leader, wants to be seen to having. So the first one is change, right? Where I think a lot of us are. Anyone know Oprah Winfrey?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a very good one of Oprah Winfrey's famous quotes there. What do we see from the image in the middle? Can any of you describe the image in the middle? Okay, do you have the mic? Yeah, please. So this is really connecting with nature. I think nature teaches us a lot about how we can actually conduct ourselves, right? Yes, please go ahead. What do you think is...
It's the life cycle of a butterfly.
Exactly. Life cycle from a caterpillar, right? From a caterpillar to a butterfly, right? And that's an extraordinary journey right there, yeah? With a huge transformation, right? And I think the key message here as well is that change is not easy. Yeah, change is difficult, but we have to be comfortable with discomfort. Yeah, so we want to remember the sentence. Being comfortable with discomfort. Okay. So as an agile leader, it's very, very important that we are comfortable with change. And by the way, when we say leader, we're not talking about managers. So all of us gathered here today are leaders, right? Every single one of us is leaders. We have responsibilities for our kids, our wives, husbands, mother, father. Okay, so all of us have responsibilities, which means that we are all leaders in our own right. Yeah? Innovation. So I'm sure you guys know Jeff Bezos. Yeah. I believe you have to be willing to be misunderstood if you're going to innovate. So you have to be able to think differently from everyone else. And above all, have the courage to see through your different thinking, right? And this is something that we all struggle with. You know, some of us have some really great ideas, and everyone says, that thing is not going to fly, or just, relax yourself, okay? But we have to have the courage to, to be brave enough to see through our kind of creative ideas. And then we have community. So it's like the PMI Ghana chapter. We're pretty much a community, right? Focused on project delivery and anything around project delivery. Does anyone know who that is? Yes, Martin Luther King's wife. Yeah, exactly. So the greatness of a community is the most accurately measured by compassionate actions of its members. So if each of us, as members of PMI Ghana chapter, really adhere to our ethics, and we display those behaviors, that's really what makes us a very strong community, right? And we're in a position to change our country even. And then we have teamwork. This is Henry Ford from Ford. Yeah, if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. So the interesting thing about teamwork is that we all have different skills, we all have different abilities, and then we bring all those together, and we become a massive force, right? And it's useful to say at this point that every single one of us has got a skill or a talent, right? And sometimes we overlook others because we think they're not good enough, okay? Or we even undermine ourselves, right? And this is also not good. Every single person has a talent, and you know, those of us that are managers, we want to be able to develop the skill of identifying what those skills are in our people. Yeah? And then we have outcomes. So anyone know Tony Robbins? Yes? Who is Tony Robbins?
He's a motivational speaker.
Exactly, motivational speaker. Thank you. Right. So there's no such thing as failure, only results. I was highlighting before that, you know, as a country, there's still quite a lot of us that are not very comfortable with failure, because we're going to be singled out. You know, it's just all not a very pleasant experience. But we want to encourage. You know, I actually work with some organizations that have awards for staff that have tried something. Teams that have tried something and it didn't work, and they're actually given awards. Does anyone work for an organization that has that here in Ghana? Okay. I think it's more like the other way around, right? You might not have a job. But yeah, this is really happening in some organizations across the world, because it's only through failure that we can learn, right, and become better at what we do. So you want to be able to challenge, those that you work with, challenge their thinking and encourage them to feel comfortable with failure. So collaboration. So we all know Madame Teresa. None of us, including me, ever do great things, but we can do small things with great love. And together we can do something wonderful. I think we mentioned this before. Yeah, we all have different diverse skills, but when we come together with our diverse skills, we are a very powerful force. Yeah? So as an Agile leader, you're kind of mindful of this and bringing this into the team. I think we struggle with this sometimes, even within PMI Ghana chapter. We have some, challenges with collaborating together, and it's important for us to be able to overcome those. Determination. I really like this one. This is Nelson Mandela's one of his famous quotes. It always seems impossible until it's done. Sometimes we're a bit impatient with success, but success comes with kind of a long period of trials and tribulations, struggling, yeah. So being patient as well can help us. And then we have vision. So vision is looking into the long term, right? Not just tomorrow. Sometimes our scarcity mindset can obstruct our thinking, and it's sort of we can't think far. I think this is how we say it, right? Not being able to think far. But it's really, really important to be able to think. I think Kwame Nkrumah is renowned to have had this kind of mindset where he was always looking decades ahead, for us as a country. And so all of us want to be thinking kind of medium to long term. And then we have growth. Okay, so it's kind of linked to change in a way, right? In order to grow, we have to be comfortable with change. So again, this is one of Oprah Winfrey's famous statements. We can't become what we need to be by remaining who we are. So this is partly why I was doing that survey, to try and get you to think about who you are now and who you think you're becoming. Yeah? So it's useful for us to be thinking along those lines. Okay, so now we're going to do another survey from you. I think if you go to your page, you should already be there. So you're going to think about. So you're now looking at your management that you work with within your organization, right? I think there's about 9 options there. you're going to think about 3 traits that you recognize within your organization, right? So we just talked through each of those, and which ones do you think are strengths in your organization today? So please go ahead and select that. It's still waiting to come through. So on the page, you just select one at a time, right? You select the first one, and then you're prompted to put in the second one, and then the third one. See, the network challenges are making things a bit difficult for us.
Yeah, I lost.
Ah, good. So now it's appeared. Okay, so we have vision and collaboration at the top. Oh, okay. That's good. So the bottom right is showing the number of participants. So we have quite a lot of participants, which is good. And at least we're able to get a broad perspective of okay, teamwork seems to be number 1, with vision number 2. Did anyone here select teamwork? Ah, could you pass the mic, please, to the gentleman behind you? What does teamwork mean for you, please, sir?
It means coming together,
Yeah.
working together to achieve an aim or an objective for coming together as a project team.
Right. Good. Thank you. And the lady next to what is your perspective on teamwork for you?
Okay, teamwork for me is having one mind,
Yeah.
one vision, and then attaining the goal.
Right. Good. Thank you. Yeah. So those are all very relevant. So with the team, we have, as we were discussing before, we have different skills, right, within the team, and then we have one goal, right? Just as you describe it, we have one goal. So we bring the skills together in order to achieve this goal. So if you're a CEO, for instance, of course, that's the highest level, and you're thinking about how can we bring all these teams together? Every single individual in their own kind of sub-teams, leverage their skills and bring it all together in order for us to meet our organizational goal. Okay, so that's good. So team is definitely number 1. How about, who else selected vision here? Anyone select vision here? Ah, okay, at the back. Great. So let's get your perspective on vision. Hello.
Okay, let's say I selected vision.
Yeah.
Because actually we are going through a business transformational change.
Ah, good.
In our organization.
Right.
And one of the main challenges that we are facing is to cascade our goals to the last level of the organization.
Okay.
Yes, I'm from a manufacturing company, so you can imagine how challenging
yes.
it is to explain the vision
right.
to the team working on the production line.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you for that. I have one tip for you, by the way, on that. There's a framework or methodology called OKRs, Objectives and Key Results. Right. This is a really good tool to get everyone in the organization to meet the goal, right? And it's based on some key targets, which is based on numbers, if you like. Yeah. So that's a good way, just as a tip, for getting every single team to be aligned on how we can achieve our goal. Yeah, I think there was another gentleman as well on the left there who also had vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I chose vision because currently my company is looking beyond what we constantly were doing over the past 25 years and looking to upscale that into diverse markets.
Good. Okay. So you're changing your business model even, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Does anyone have a definition of what your organization's vision is? So normally you would have like a sentence describing. Yes? Okay, there's a lady here. Thank you. So this is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. The vision is about where we are going as an organization. And it's very, very important that every single person within the organization knows exactly where we are going, right? It doesn't matter who it is. It could even be the cleaner, right? So let me tell you this story before we invite our lady to comment on hers. JFK was invited to do a walk within the Pentagon. So this was in the late 50s or 60s or so. And when he was walking through the one of the corridors, he saw this gentleman who was sweeping the hallway, right? And he asked this gentleman, "So what do you do here?" And you know what the gentleman said? He said that I'm helping to get a man on the moon. Right? Because at the time, the Pentagon were trying to get a man on the moon. So although he's just sweeping, he still has the understanding of what we are trying to do as an organization. And that's very powerful. Sorry, yes, please.
I work with Spectral Global Limited,
Yeah.
a design build firm. And our vision is to become a cutting-edge design build partner in Africa.
Awesome. That's really, I like that. Yeah, that's really good. Excellent. Okay, so that's teamwork and vision. Collaboration. Anyone select collaboration here? Collaboration, okay. Let's just take a few words about what collaboration means for us. And I think in our society sometimes we do struggle with collaboration because we all have our own individual motives. Yeah. Let's be honest about this. But we have to understand that we can only become stronger when we come together as one. Yes, please.
So for my organization, what we did was our vision was to increase the risk of those involved in corrupt acts, government officials, by the way. So we work collaboratively with civil society and state institutions, and we recognize the fact that just state institutions couldn't do it all by themselves. They needed civil society and citizens as well to get involved in the fight against corruption.
Awesome.
And so that collaborative work meant that the supply side, where the state side was doing its bit to make sure that institutions were working and they were funded, civil society was also putting pressure on the government to make sure that they were demanding for people to be punished when they were involved in corrupt acts.
That's a very, very inspirational story. You know, this goes to show that we as a people actually can influence change, right? If we all decide as a collective, to target on the right things. Good. Okay. So that's the. Let's move back to. It's a good interaction on that. So how do we create the right culture? You know, how do we get our people to display the right behaviors in our organization? So we have here what we are calling the culture iceberg. Okay, this is how we like to call them. So right at the top there is is what we call the visible organizational culture. So this is what we are saying to the world, that this is how we get things done, right? So we can see, vision, strategy, goals, structured, all the usual topics there. Now, the most interesting part is actually below the surface, okay? And that is these items here. Beliefs is a good one, right? Do we all believe in ourselves, as an example? Do we believe that, the vision that we have for our organization, we can really deliver on this vision, right? Deep down, do we really believe this? Do we believe in ourselves to do the right thing? We have tradition, in fact, with tradition, depending on which part of the country you are, it can be very, very different, right? And sometimes we have conflicts there too, okay? We have stories, we have feelings. Feelings is actually one of the most important KPIs, right? Because you can imagine if you wake up in the morning and you're not feeling great, it's going to be very difficult to be productive in the workplace, right? Because we're human, right? It's very different if you wake up in the morning and we have this target, right? This vision, and you are excited about how we're going to get to this, awesome place. You look forward to the day and you have some activities and you work on it, right? So feeling is very, very important. And we have our own individual personal values. And sometimes our own personal values are actually not aligned with our shared values, right? So that's another area for us to also be mindful of. And then, of course, we have our perceptions. So we all have different perspectives on different topics. So these are the invisible organizational culture sort of topics. And we have here some examples of vision statements. So we can see here Tesla, to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. Nike, or Americans call it Nike. Okay. So this is how a typical journey would look like if we want to change how our people behave. These are the kind of 10 steps that I'm going to share with you here. So the first step, of course, is to establish our values. As an organization, what are our values? Does anyone know what their organization's values are? Any of you? Okay, just one. I'm surprised. Does that mean... okay, so you have two there. No one else knows your values in your organization? This is scary. Okay, so we have a few hands up. Yes, please. Yeah.
So we have values of integrity.
Yeah.
Driven to exceed expectations, respect.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So yeah, let's talk through what these steps would look like. So that's a first step, right? Is to, as a collective, we agree on what our values are, and this is obviously speaking to our stakeholders in terms of what we represent, right? So now we then want to align our culture with our with our strategy and processes. So as an organization, if we say that we want to bring integrity into how we work, maybe we want to look at how we can change our processes to make sure that we are all doing the right thing and we are being honest, right? So we have some checks there, yeah? So having those processes, and it's not optional, by the way, these processes are mandatory, yeah? When I was working with Alcatel-Lucent, Alcatel-Lucent had no tolerance for bribery and corruption, right? And I remember vividly when I was in Ghana at the time, and one of my family friends said to me that, Cyril, but Alcatel-Lucent, they can't survive war. You can't be here doing business without, being comfortable with an element of corruption. that was quite a scary statement for me, actually. I thought to myself, wow, that means we have actually accepted that corruption is normal. Okay? That's the scary part. Corruption is not normal, guys. Yeah. So when we come up with these strategy and processes, then we are connecting that with accountability, right? Making sure that every single one of us, the managers, and every single person in the team. And then we want to make sure that our cultural behaviors are actually visible, right? So we want our leaders to be leading by example, to be showing respect, right, for everyone in the team. And then, of course, we have to have some non-negotiables. It's a bit like how I was describing, with Architect Lucid having this tolerance for corruptive behaviors. And there are certain elements that you don't want to entertain as an organization. So branding is also very, very important, right? Because as a business, you want to be, for instance, if you are aspiring to be an international organization, you want to trade with outside of Ghana, outside of Africa, for instance, European businesses take integrity and trust very seriously, okay? So how do we update our brand so that we are recognized as a trustworthy organization that we can do business with? Okay, so this is a very also important factor. And then we are measuring how we are actually following our new ways of working, the behaviors that we're displaying. So maybe we're doing some surveys to check to see whether we are actually following these new ways of behaving. Okay. So, and then of course, I think number 8 is very, very important because changing behaviors takes time. I work as a coach myself, and changing mindsets takes a very long time. So it needs patience, right? So it's not something that will happen overnight. It takes a long time. And of course, being prepared to invest. Invest in training, coaching. Okay, you can't take shortcuts. There's a lot of organizations that actually don't invest enough in training, and then they want to transform into becoming a better organization. Okay, and then the last step, of course, is keeping things, keeping every aspect of our new culture intact, because it's very, very easy to go back, right? So we can start it, get it to a really good place. But if we do not maintain it, people are just going to come back to their old ways of working and behaving. Okay, so now my last question for you guys. So I would like to encourage us to be more action-orientated. So, in Ghana we like to talk a lot. We like to talk, but we're not so good on the action part. Okay, so I'm now going to challenge all of you to think about what is it that you think you can do, like tomorrow. What specific action can you do tomorrow that's going to make you a better person, right? So yeah, think about that, and let's have your feedback. Just go to the next. Yeah. So you might want to spend just a few minutes thinking about this. So I've tried to make this session more interactive. Otherwise, it'd be too boring if I'm just doing the talking here. So what action would you take that would help you to become that better person? I think one of you selected, when we had the question about who are you aspiring to become, and one of you did have that, to become a better person, which I think is really good. I think the person was online. What next action would you take in order to help you to become a better person? And I would like the action to be, it has to be something that you are going to do personally, right, or not. So the interesting thing about change here is that we are very often thinking about the need for other people to change, right? We never think that maybe we can actually start the change ourselves, right? And secondly, we can inspire others, right, by doing something that will encourage other people also to follow. So we are at the mercy of technology. Let's wait to see what the feedback is. The network is really struggling, right? You guys have answered, right? Yeah? Okay. And it's not got the number of people on there yet, so I think it's still syncing up. This is where we need patience. Which network are we using? Any of you not see the question?
Old one. No, the old one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, let me see. Let me try this again. Is it appeared?
Yes.
Ah, okay. So it must be. I wasn't pressing the right buttons, maybe. So the tool was. So we can't blame the network on that one. Okay, so the numbers are going up. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of broad statements as well. I would like to see some more specific. Okay, so let me give you an example. Like, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. in case you're waking up at between 7 and 7:30, right? Or I'm going to I'm going to compliment someone today about something good that they've done, right? Yeah. So let's try and be specific on what the action will be. So I know we have come up with some, but some of them are quite generic. Okay, we have a lot coming in. I like this one. I'm going to learn from Cyril. Was there anyone here that put this one? That's a good one. That's a pleasant surprise. I am touched. So I'm seeing a lot of listen more, personal development. You know what's interesting, guys, is that we all have these awesome devices called mobile phones, right? Sorry?
As a married man, I'll pick up with my daughter.
Oh, really? That's awesome. I didn't see that one. Oh, I missed it. This is online, right? They won't do that here, right? That's a good one. I've even forgotten what I was going to say, right? But there's some really great answers here. Yeah, so I can see a lot of personal development, studying. Ah, okay, as a married man breaking up with my girlfriend. I'm now seeing that one. Okay. Be punctual. Did anyone put that be punctual? Okay. All the ones I'm selecting are all mine. I see here, find a mentor and learn from them. I'm very happy to support with that, by the way. If you want to be mentored, that's fine with me. I think another important point as well is that you want to focus on developing a good character. This would be my advice. Character is number one. Don't worry about... In fact, character is more important than studying. Yeah. So focus on developing yourself as an individual, first and foremost, right? And then, on top of that, if you add your professional academics or whatever, then this is good. Because we know today that we have a lot of very talented academics in our society, and they don't have the right character, right? And it's causing us a lot of problems. Yeah. So I'm always saying this to my son. My son who's 21 and he's in his final year at university. And just like how my father told me, I'm telling him that the most important thing to focus on is your character. Work hard, of course, to get the right, good grades. But if you get an upper second, and you have the right character, I'll much prefer that than you have a first with the wrong character. Yeah. So please, focus on character. We were talking about this challenge we have with integrity and trust. Character, building character can fix that. And it doesn't matter, if others think that you're behaving in a strange way. Endure it and just focus on doing the right thing. Yeah. So I think a lot of you have come up with a lot of I'm seeing studying. Stop gossiping at work. So there's some really interesting ones here. I'm going to put together a report, like an output of these questions, and share it so that everyone can see. Great. Okay. So I think my timing is coming up. So I think a lot of you have answered. There's about 54 of you, so that's really great. So this is my last question to you. Within this PMI Ghana chapter, do we think that we can start to change the country? Can you guys see the question, by the way?
No.
You can? Okay, so this is the last question, because I'm already running out of time, apparently. So, what do you guys think? As a chapter, can we, as a community, lead by example, all the topics that we just covered just now? Can we say to ourselves that we are going to embody these values and actually display them in our workplace? So that when anyone hears that, this gentleman is coming from PMI Ghana chapter, they will think, that's why he's so trustworthy. That's why she's full of integrity. Yeah? Can we do this? This is the question. I like it. Confidence is high. This is great. Some of you are thinking, So for those of you that said no, I think you want to go back to the Nelson Mandela statement, right? It always seems impossible until it's done. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm done. Thank you.
very much, Mr. Cyril. This has been very interesting, actually. Because we are so pressed on time, we will just take just two questions. So please, if you have a question, I'll walk up to you and then you'd ask them so that we can answer faster. We could go to the next agenda for the day. Any questions?
And you've been a wonderful audience, by the way. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you very much for the session. My name is Kojo.
Hello, Kojo.
You talked about developing character, and I think it's very critical. It's just that some of us perhaps approach it the wrong way.
Right.
I would like to take your guidance on it. Is it submitting to authority? Is it being a yes man?
Good question.
What is it? Really?
Yes, it's a very, very good question. So the most important thing is to do the right thing, okay? Regardless as to what the response is. So this is where you need courage, okay? And we want to challenge this code because we know that a lot of us are in environments where it seems normal, okay, to accept mediocrity. Yeah, we can see the gaps, right? But we feel helpless to do anything about it, right? And I want to encourage you to develop the courage to do something about it. And this is why I think that we want to come together as a collective, because when there's more of us that are saying the right things, it's much, much easier, right? I mean, if you think about it in your workplace, if you can find, even just 2 or 3 guys who are thinking the same way, you come together and you go and see the manager, the conversation is slightly different from if you just go in by yourself. Yeah? So we really want to think about this community collaboration piece and leverage that to help to change mindsets and behaviors. And we can do it. I believe we can. Yeah. Any
Next
other
question, please.
So I wish you all the best with that, Kojo.
Yeah, I'm Donald.
Donald? No, sorry, no, it's Kojo, right? Wish you all the best. Yeah. Sorry, Donald, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Donald. I have a very simple safety philosophy.
Yes.
And I learned it with an everyday life.
Okay.
Safety is about doing the right thing, even if no one is watching.
I like it.
And I learned it with your everyday life.
Yes.
Say, do the right thing, even if no one is watching.
Yes.
And I believe if you espouse that philosophy,
yes,
you don't care whether you are doing something and people are saying so many things.
Very true, Donald. I like it. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's very much like integrity. So I take spirituality very, very seriously. I think we are all quite religious and faithful, all of us gathered here today. I would like to think so. And we can really leverage our spirituality, by the way, and live a life, the Christians among us, live a life like Jesus Christ did. It's hard, but if we challenge ourselves to live a life like Jesus Christ did, that's when we will see positivity. Yeah, despite the, maybe the negative response. Because we all know what Jesus Christ went through, right? We are the ones that said that he needs to be crucified. We said all these terrible things to him, blah, 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 right? And he sacrificed his life for us. So it's a very similar way. I'm just talking about this from a Christian perspective, but, I think it's a good message. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
On behalf of PMI Ghana,
I wasn't expecting
thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And I would like to wish all of you the very best for the future.